Hello my friends, welcome to a very highly requested video that I am very nervous to film. This is my Why I Quit Teaching video. I have had so many requests for this since I said that I might do it, and I wasn't going to do it because I wanted to still have a window open to go substitute at my old school. I wanted to be able to go back, and I am really loving doing YouTube full time, and I feel like at this point, I don't want to go back. I miss my friends, I miss my students, but I don't want to go back and work. And I'm okay with that. I've kind of accepted that. And I feel like the risk that I'm taking making this video is worth it for how it may help my friends. I don't know how many people will end up seeing this video, and I think that's where my nerves come from, is I don't know how far this video is going to go and if it will incite change. But if it doesn't even go far, it's an interesting video to see the insides of teaching and what it's really like. Like, I'm getting upset like thinking about making this video. Like, I never really knew what I wanted to do for a living, and then I ended up in college. I was at a community college where I got my associate's degree in mental health. I did that for 3 years. Then I went to university as an occupational therapy major. I did that for a couple months, realized that wasn't for me, and because of the internships I'd done at community college, I decided I wanted to go into special education. So I got my undergraduate degree in special education. It took me a really long time. I got that, and then I also got an undergraduate degree in psychology because I had so many extra credits floating around. I only needed one more semester to get a double major. I got certified to teach general ed and special ed, and then eventually I got my master's in elementary reading and literacy. I taught for 11 years. As I taught, started off in special education, self-contained, so kids with severe learning disabilities. I taught there for 5 years. I did inclusion for a year, which is where you go into general education classrooms and you help the kids who have special education needs. Then I took a year off to spend time with my son as he was a little teeny tiny baby, so I was on maternity leave for a year, and then I went back to doing inclusion for a year. I taught 4th grade general education for 2 years, including the advanced academics reading class, and then I taught, the last year I taught inclusion one more time, and that was what kind of pushed me over the edge. So, all right. You guys know how much I love YouTube. I've been doing YouTube for 4 years. It is my passion. It's what I love to do. But I tried to do both, and I realized I just couldn't do both. The time restrictions for teaching, I mean, even if I wasn't trying to do YouTube along with teaching, there was just no way that I could do my job well with the demands that were placed on me. It's just impossible, and I'm one of those people that if I can't do something well, I don't want to do it at all, and that was really what pushed me over the edge. A lot of the things that affected me personally, I can't talk about because I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. Some things happening to teachers around me that it broke my heart, and I just couldn't watch it anymore. I couldn't watch seeing that happen. But what I will tell you is that the teachers did not let it affect the students. The teachers were so amazing that no matter what was happening to them, no matter how much stress they were under, they never let the kids see it. And they did everything they could, despite the demands, despite all the roadblocks put in front of them. They did everything they could to make it so the kids didn't know about it, didn't know about how hard they were working or the demands put on them that they thought were so unreasonable. They made a way to make it work. And that's why I have so much admiration for people still in the field. I feel like I left my soldiers in battle. I left them on the battlefield, and I feel really guilty about that. Sorry. So because I'm getting emotional, I'm going to take a little break, and I'm going to show you a video that I made actually for my administration, so they would know what the teachers were going through. There is one mistake in it. It says that it's 40 minutes of planning time when it's actually 50 minutes of planning time, but I want to go ahead and show you this video so you can get kind of a picture of what it was like to be a teacher and what it currently is like to be a teacher. All right, welcome to Why Teachers Burn Out. And here's my little fire
with little sparks going off of it. All right, I'm going to teach you a little bit about why teachers are burning out in today's educational society. So it starts off with the beginning of the school year. And I like to think of the beginning of the school year like a race. Here's our starting line, okay? And you've got a bunch of kids here that are starting right at the starting line. They're excited, they're ready for, let's say, 4th grade. Yay, and they're all so happy. They've got mom and dad at home helping them. They're excited, they're ready to start 4th grade. So you've got these kids here. Then you've got a few kids over here, okay? They already know some of the information in 4th grade. They're ready to go. They've got probably some 5th grade skills. They're solid, they're ready to go, but they're at a different place where these guys are. Then you've got kids that are here. They're a little bit behind. They're maybe not so happy about school, but they're ready to start the year. Then you've got kids that are way back here. Got a couple of kids back here. They may be happy. They may be angry. Okay? Got all kinds of stuff. They're not, you got angry kids everywhere and everyone. But this guy right here, he's got a broken leg. He's going to go super slow. Now this analogy is kind of where kids are academically. So you've got kids starting the year on grade level, above grade level, slightly below grade level, really below grade level, and really below grade level with problems like learning disabilities, processing deficits, things like that are going to make it really difficult for them to catch up to these guys over here. Okay, so as a classroom teacher, you're dealing with all of these kids, maybe even in the same room at the same time. So what do teachers have to do in order to help all of these kids get to the end of the line, which is the end of 4th grade or whatever grade they are going to be in? So this is what ends up happening. This is what's happening where we're at. So you've got your teacher. Teacher starts the lesson with the whole group. So you've got your class all sitting here. Maybe they're in tables where they're sitting together, all these kids, and they're all ready to learn. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of them are indifferent. They're, just hanging out at their desk. You've got about 25 of them sitting there. Okay, I'm not going to draw them all. Okay, and this teacher's teaching. They teach their whole group lesson. Then what happens is you've got, now you got to make your groups. Okay, so you've got Billy and Jesse over here who are way ahead of the game. They're not going to be able to have the same lesson as Johnny and Susie back here because Johnny and Susie can't do the things that Billy and whoever else I said can do. Okay, so you got to do totally different lessons. Even these guys aren't going to be able to do what these guys can do. This guy's not going to be able to do what these guys can do. So now you have to plan for all of these kids' instruction. Okay, so that they can all learn. All right, that's our job as educators, to make sure that no child's left behind. Make sure that every child learns. That's our job. That's what we do. So what you do is you end up making groups. Okay, so you've got 3 groups of kids, sometimes more. Okay, teacher teaches this group, Group A, Group B, and Group C. They're all different levels. Okay, they teach Group A for 20 minutes. So this is a planned lesson with Group A for 20 minutes. While these guys are learning with the teacher, these guys are maybe doing some extension work to kind of teach them to the next thing. These guys are doing a preview of what they're going to do with the teacher in 20 minutes. Okay? 20 minutes goes by. Okay, so teachers plan for this. Teachers plan for this extension for this group. They've planned the preview for this group. 20 minutes goes by. Now, Group A is now doing extension work or reteach work. Okay? Group B, who is doing extension, is now doing maybe more extension. Maybe they're doing a different skill, something else. Maybe it's a project. Group C is now with the teacher. So teacher has now planned this lesson, the extension for this lesson, and something else for this group. So this is 20 minutes. Time goes by, 20 minutes. So teacher has now planned 6 different activities. Well, they may be the same activities, but they're different because each kid is on each group is on a different level. 20 minutes goes by. Now group A is doing their reteach, maybe another reteach group with a special educator or some other kind of support staff. If you're lucky, the support staff person has planned that lesson. Okay? Group B, who was originally an extension, they've done something else. Group B is now with the teacher, doing some work. Okay? She has no arms apparently. And Group C is now doing some extension work on what they did with the teacher. Teacher has planned now all of these things. Okay? They've planned 20 minutes here. They've planned these 3 things. They've planned these 3 things. And they've planned these 3 things. Okay? Probably as much has been given by the curriculum is probably this has been given by the curriculum. And maybe one of these pages. The rest needs to be made up by the teacher. Okay? Now, let's say the teacher now, the lesson is now over. Now you're an hour in. Okay, you're an hour in. Now we need to figure out a writing activity. Writing or grammar. Grammar. Spelling. All of that needs to be fit in at 3 different levels. A, B, and C. We also need to take into account different learning styles. Tactile. Visual, auditory. Then we got to take into consideration disabilities, modifications, kids that were absent. Okay, how are we going to catch them up? All of that needs to be taken into consideration, not only for the writing, grammar, and spelling, but for every one of these lessons. All of that needs to be taken into consideration. Now, if the teacher's lucky, she's departmentalized or he's departmentalized and only has to worry about one subject, being reading. If they're not, now teacher needs to plan the math lesson. And we start A, B, and C all over again for math. Then, we need to plan social studies. Usually in social studies or science, you can have one group of all your kids, but this guy and this guy can't read the core text. So we need to figure out how we're going to get them to be able to read the core text. All of this happens for one day. This is 1 day's worth of planning. All of this. For all of these different kinds of kids. 1 day of planning. Why teachers are burning out. Teachers are burning out because this is too much. It's 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 too much. Because on top of that, there's more. Emails to parents. Data collection. Grading. All of that is also factored in. And how much planning time do we get? 40 minutes per day to do all of this. That's why teachers are burning out.
You can see the balance of home and school. There is none. There is none if you're trying to do your job well. And the guilt trip that is laid on you, if you can't do it, if you can't do all of these things, you're made out to be bad at your job. And it's just not fair. It's not fair, the demands that are placed, you know, and when someone says, oh, well, teaching's not a 9-to-5 job, you're expected to do things off school hours. Every teacher knows they're expected to do things off school hours, but for how many hours? For how many hours? It cannot consume your life. It's not right. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong the way teachers are being treated right now. And it's, you know, if you don't do this, then you obviously don't care about your students. If you don't do all of this, then you obviously aren't good at your job. You're not a good teacher. And it's like, if you would just listen, people in charge, if you would just listen to the teachers and listen to what we're telling you about how it can be better, that we're not trusted as professionals to know what we're doing. We're babysat to the minute details of everything we're doing. Everything we're doing has to be watched over to make sure we're doing it exactly the way we're told to do, but yet we're told to individualize things for kids. But you can't individualize it, because if you individualize it, then you're not only spending a stupid amount of time modifying things, but you're also then slammed down because you didn't do exactly what you were told to do. And it's like there's so much confusion and so much double standard, and there's so much do this but don't do this, and it's just too much. So here's where I offer solutions. Here's the big solution. Let the teachers teach. Just let them teach. Give them the standards, tell them what you want them to teach, give them materials, give them a curriculum, and then just let them teach. Let them do what is best for the children in their classroom. If you ask any teacher, they'll tell you, I created all of this stuff this year. Let's say last school year, I created all of this stuff, and I did all of this for my students, and I'm going to save it for next year. Ask them how much of it they use another year. You can't. You can't use it another year, a lot of the things, because the kids change. The kids are different from year to year. Their needs are different. Their interests are different. You can't just carry things over from year to year. And what our government fails to understand is that the only person that's truly going to know what's best in that classroom is the teacher, and you gotta let go. If you're a mom and you have a child, you're at the hospital, do they give you an instruction manual that tells you exactly how to raise your child? No, they don't. Why don't they? Why don't they tell you exactly what you should do in every situation? Because every family and every child is different. Every classroom culture is different. Every teacher is different. Every group of students is different. And there's so much micromanaging from up above trying to tell teachers what's best for their kids. And that is what's killing American public education, is that teachers do not have enough control over what happens in their classroom. If you get lucky, you have a wonderful principal that understands that and isn't afraid to let you do what you need to do to help your students and trust you. I would say the majority of principals out there are trying to do their job, trying to do what they're told from up above. So they spread those messages to their teachers, creating all of this problem. So if you are in government, or if you know somebody in government that works in education law, please, please, please have them spend one day in a classroom. Have them go to a classroom after school, see the teacher planning. Have the teacher go through exactly what they do to plan a lesson. Then the next day, go in and help it be implemented. Watch it be implemented. See what the teachers go through in order to meet the needs of their students. One day. One day, that's my challenge. Principals, people in educational law, you have to get in the classroom if you want to know what in the world should be happening in a classroom. And that's the big problem, is we've got all these political science majors graduating from college thinking they know all of this stuff, creating all of these laws, and they've never spent one day in a classroom. How does that even make any sense? It makes no sense whatsoever. None. There needs to be a tremendous overhaul in the public education system, and I am terrified for what's going to be happening in the next few years, because it doesn't seem like either political candidate has talked at all about education. I have not seen one thing come up about public education in the debate or any other time. It's not a topic. It's not a topic, and I'm terrified, because it should be a topic. It should be something that is important to everybody, because the kids in school today are our next world leaders. They're our next presidents. They're our next government officials. And if we don't take care of them, what's going to happen to our country? And that's my big point. So I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you learned something from it. It's not my typical video that I make on the channel. Please know that this is not something that I will be doing often, but it was highly requested, and I feel like the message needs to get out there. So if you feel the need, please definitely feel free to share this with anybody you think that will find it interesting. Definitely hit the like button down below, the thumbs up button, and subscribe if you enjoy makeup videos, because that's what I typically do. So one more time, I want to thank you so much for watching. Mad love, and I'll see you soon. Bye.